push-ups. I've been doing sit-ups. I've been doing chin-ups. I've been doing pull-ups. I threw up once, but I'm okay now.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to a Thursday weekend edition of the Ysn Power Hour, powered by our friends over at Toyota of Warren. My name is DJ, and my goodness, do we have a show for you today. We got a lot of talking points. We got a lot to talk about. This is it. This is the last show before the state championships. South Range. Oh, boy. South Range, Canfield, Warren JFK. This is the last time you will hear us talk about these games on this program until the games are complete. And I got to tell you, I am over the moon. I am anxious. I am nervous, almost physically shaking, so excited. And I can't even imagine what these young men and young women are doing. And we're going to talk about kind of cover all the bases here today on the Ysn Power Hour. I want to take your questions. I want to hear your thoughts in the chat box, whether you're on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube or Twitch. Don't have chat for ysnlive.com yet, but I hear that's coming. I hear it's coming. We can embed that. So if you're on LinkedIn as well, we want to hear from you. So we're going to get to this show started the right way, as we do each and every day. It's on this day in sports history. Here we go. All right. On this day in sports history, December 1st. Welcome to December, everybody. Welcome to December. December 1st, 1996, Wayne Gretzky becomes the first and only player in National Hockey League history to reach the 3,000-point plateau, including the playoffs. He had records. He records an assist in New York Rangers' 6-2 win over the Montreal Canadiens in Madison Square Garden. So does it on the biggest stage. So why are we talking about Wayne Gretzky on December 1st, other than recording his accomplishment? Well, Wayne Gretzky was known as the Great One. So was The Rock. But Gretzky was great each and every time he took to the rink. He knew what it was like to be a champion. And the correlation between Wayne Gretzky and these young men and women that are taking the field on Friday and on Saturday, and even tonight, if you're going to the Hoban game, which I guess a couple of YSN people are, is to be a champion. It's not just good enough to be good enough. You have to be great. Great for that 48 minutes, right? Great for 4 quarters. Take everything you ever knew and ever will know about taking a play off and throw that right out. In order to be great, in order to be a champion, there's a lot that has to go your way. There's luck, there's skill, there's opportunity. All of that combined has got to go in favor of your team or yourself in order for you to raise that championship trophy and eventually that championship banner. I'm not here to tell you who you can be and who you can't be. I'm here to tell you what needs to be done in order to be great. And when you think about South Range and Canfield and you think about Warren JFK, listen, the last 24 hours, I've done my due diligence on Ironton. Trust me, guys, they want it. They want it bad. They've got, 10-minute videos based on faith bands, and they've got 10-minute videos based on, them losing the last 2 state championships and them being the underdogs. I look at this and I think to myself, sometimes you're the underdog and sometimes you play the underdog, just from a mental standpoint. And I look at the chat boards and the message boards, and I look at those videos, and I'm not sure that Ironton knows who they want to be. And that's, I mean, no disrespect from that, but it's like they want to be the underdog, but they also want to be the big dog on the block and tell you how it's going to be. And again, no disrespect to Ironton, and those videos were tremendous. But you can't have your cake and eat it too. You either have to embrace the underdog role, or you have to tell somebody how it's going to be. And at the end of these videos, it's Ironton by 90, Ironton by 100. They feel disrespected that I'm assuming Drew Pastor has the minus 15, and that's what they're alluding to. I'm telling you, South Range didn't make that. They don't believe that. Go back and watch the interview with Dan Yeagley. They don't necessarily believe they're an underdog either. They're going to go in and they're going to play South Range football the same way that Dan Yeagley said for the last 6 years in every interview that he's ever done with me. And that holds true for Canfield and Warren JFK and their respective programs. Canfield's going to go play Canfield football. Warren JFK is going to play Warren JFK football. They're going to play Kennedy football. Blue Storm defense. That's who they are. But I see and hear people talk about, well, the stage is too big and the stage is. These kids have been there before. Again, we talked about this earlier this week. South Range has state championship wrestlers on their team. They were there for the 2018 in middle school, right? In middle school, they were there. I believe they were 8th graders when they came through. It was the 2018 baseball team, state champions. Canfield, program's been there before in 2005. These kids have seen state champions. They've seen national champions inside their hallways. They're not going to shy away from this. And people talk about JFK. JFK's been there almost more than anybody else. JFK was there just 2 years ago against this very same New Bremen team. We talk about it all the time. And that's why, and I hope I'm speaking on behalf of all of you. Enough talking. You're tired of tuning in and seeing me talk about 3 teams all week. I'm tired of talking too. I'm tired of talking about it. Let's get it on. Let's go. And tomorrow it starts, 10:30 a.m. It's less than 24 hours away. About 24 hours from now, hopefully you'll be listening to Canfield after the South Range State Championship. But you'll be listening to Canfield go on and win their state championship. We'll be in the first quarter. You'll be hearing Richie and Mike and Steve do the broadcast. But what makes these championships worth winning? Yes, to say you're the best in the state, that's a blatant, easy answer, right? That's the top of the list. Easiest fruit on the tree to pull down. But I will say this. There's a lot of people that confuse what a championship means and what it doesn't mean. And you can believe me or not, because I'm not exactly championship material. I never got to hoist the championship trophy when I was in high school. Had some success in college. But from a standpoint of watching what winners do and seeing what they do in all phases, in all aspects of life, we're going to get to what it means to win this state title, what it means to the kids, what it means to the parents, what it means to the community, what it means to the school, what it means to the area. And some of these you probably already heard this week. We sprinkled them in throughout the week. But what does winning a state championship mean? And what doesn't it mean? Let's start with what it doesn't mean, right? Let's start with when you win a state championship, what it doesn't entitle you to. All right, I'm ready to go. What it doesn't entitle you to, it doesn't entitle you to entitlement. Simple as that. It doesn't entitle you to entitlement. Winning a championship, you should not celebrate. You go celebrate. That's fine. That's great. That's what you should do because you've worked your tail off at this point for over 4 months to get to this game, the game that everybody wants to be a part of. And only 2 teams have the chance to be in the dance. You can celebrate when you win. Hell, you should celebrate if you lose. Because out of over 700 schools, there's 2 left. And I'm not big on silver medals and participation trophies, but that's just not participating, folks. That is winning at a high level. But somebody's got to lose. So you should celebrate. However, make sure that the celebration comes to a close at some point. Don't be the guy that in 20 years is still talking about, like it happened yesterday, this being the pinnacle of where you, the program, the community, and the school have come in the last 20 years. You don't want that. That's not what a state championship means. It doesn't allow you to just reminisce year after year after year about what it is. It should serve as the bar for where you want to be on a yearly basis. And I'm going to point out Warren JFK because, my goodness, those kids want to win state. They want to go to state. They want to win state. And they want to do it year after year after year. And they've been there more often than not, especially in the last 6 years. They talk about playoffs. It's a different atmosphere when you talk about the programs at Warren JFK. And I'm not just talking about the football program. They brought home a state baseball championship as well with 11 guys on the roster. Canfield needs to take this and roll it over into all their programs. And they will. As will South Range, as will JFK. But excuse me, but other programs need to do the same. Not so much look at Canfield in South Range and JFK and put them on a pedestal and say, well, that's who we aspire to be, but how do we get there? Finding humility in where you are and talking to some of the coaches, some of the administrators, the athletic director. What did they do foundationally to build what they have become now? Because you look at those 3 programs, and they didn't happen overnight. They weren't overnight successes. There's a lot of time and resources and effort and people that made up what they've become, the process. They trusted the process, and it's paying off. Coach Pavlansky, his leadership everywhere else has brought him to this moment. Brock Lowry, Danny Inglis, everybody on that Canfield roster, they bought in. They let people tell them and have their opinion about who they would be and who they wouldn't be. At the beginning of the year, we have that round table. I didn't hear Canfield's name. I didn't say it either. I point the finger at myself too. We talk about credibility in the industry. Canfield took it personal, crumpled up that paper that everybody said who was going to be great in this area, and tossed it away. And they said, watch us. Watch us. We have great players. We have great coaches. We have great fans. We have a great community. And everybody's bought in. And man, did they go for a ride. All the way to the state title game. And they got some business to take care of. Bloom Carroll is going to be a great opponent for Canfield. But I like the other way around too. I don't think Bloom Carroll's sitting there and giggling their way to the next 4 quarters that they're going to play. I think they know they got 12. They know they got 11. They're going to have to go play that entire Canfield team. That entire Canfield team. And good luck. Good luck I mean that from the bottom of my heart, not being arrogant or cocky. Good luck. Because you're going to need it. It's hard to beat a team that believes, not in just themselves, but each other. So when you look at a state championship, getting back to the original fact, you're not entitled to be entitled. This isn't something that happens every year. Unless you're Kirtland. But even Kirtland has their back up against the wall this year. Marion Local is going to be, I think they're going to win. But Kirtland is Kirtland. And if you've ever doubted Kirtland, and we've done it tongue-in-cheek, a lot of times you come out wrong. What else shouldn't this championship be? You win the championship, what should you not be focusing on? You should not be focusing on the future, at least immediately. Everybody wins a championship and you go, oh my gosh, this could set the world on fire. We're champions in 22. We can do 23, 24, 25. Look what we have coming up. Look what's coming down the pipeline. Don't turn that page. Again, celebrate it. Find the cutoff. You don't want to be that dude, right, that everybody talks about as like, I think we need help for this guy because that's the greatest thing that's ever happened. And for some people, it might be the greatest thing that ever happens to them. And that's on them. It's a great achievement. Just don't let it be your best. Let it be a springboard to other championship endeavors in life, personal, professional, spiritual. Ground yourself in this championship. That's what you should be doing. You be humble as a champion. You worked hard for it. The humility that you showed for the entire season, your entire career. There's an old adage that says that success doesn't change a person. It just amplifies it. Be the person that when you look at these championship opportunities, young people are watching you. Older people are watching you. Be the kind of guy or gal that people point to and say, I want to be like them. I want my kid to be like them. Because no matter if they won or lost, you can hardly tell. Keep your head up in defeat and stay or keep your head up in defeat. Yeah, I was right. And stay humble in victory. It's what you need to do. And I'm not saying this from like shame. I'm saying this from a standpoint of the eyes that are watching, both with powers that be and those that don't, are watching how you react. Are you picking up your teammates? Are you, it's great to win a championship, but it's what is done, again, in the millions and millions of times of opportunities that championships not on the line. It's not the last play of the game. What are you doing in those moments that make you that champion, that make you worthy of calling yourself a champion? That's what, leading up to tomorrow's kickoff, I would encourage these guys and these gals to think about. I would encourage you to constantly look at that and say, okay, what kind of champion do I want to be? I mean, you see it all the time. There's fighting champions and there's champions that run with their tail between their legs. They're just happy they're there. Personally, I believe our 3 teams are humble champions. You've seen how they've won along the way. They don't brag. They don't boast. They're not on Yappy. They're not on social media. It's a tight-knit group. They let us, the talking heads, do the talking for them, about them. That's why they've been successful. They're not giving bulletin board material. Because when push comes to shove and we say something nice about our teams or we try to promote our teams and we give billboard material, these kids can just sit there and say, we didn't say it. They said it. Idiot with glasses and a beard and no hair, he said it. Not us. That's the out that they have, right? Keep everything down. Tonight, we're going to see Pepper, and I've seen awesome stuff throughout the day on social media from both South Range, actually all 3, South Range, Kennedy, and Canfield. Community support is huge. And I've said this earlier this week, and I'm going to say it again and preach it to everybody out there. If you do not have a ticket to the game tomorrow and you have an opportunity to go. Go, 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 go. 1994 was the last time we had 3 teams from our area representing. And it doesn't matter. Trust me when I tell you this. It does not matter if you're a Bulldog or you're a G-Man or if you're an Indian or a Blue Devil or if you're a Spartan or a Blue Jay. It doesn't matter. You're from this area. I would find it really hard to believe that these other Cardinals, Raiders, and Eagles would not be rooting for you. And I'm not just saying that. I know it for a fact. Represent the region, represent our area, the 330, and go show up for these student athletes. And watch what happens. You support them, I'll bet you they support you as well. None of those kids and parents are going to shy away from you jumping on the bandwagon for a weekend and saying, let's go Raiders, let's go Cardinals, let's go Eagles. Fill up that stadium full of pride. Show them. That's our stadium. That's our house. It's an hour down the road. Let's go. Let's not give them a reason to send it back to Columbus or to make it Cincinnati or take it to Toledo. It's in our dojo. We're the sensei. Let's go. Right? Let's go. Get out there, support these kids. Get out there and support these kids. It's important. It's crucial. 2 of these teams are going to be the away teams because of a coin flip. That's you get to this point, it's a coin flip for home and away. So the Raiders and the Eagles will be wearing the white uniforms, I believe. And the Cardinals will be the home team. 1 out of 3 gets to be the home team. 3 out of 3, I believe, will get the victory. So what else? From a champion's perspective. Again, take it as you want it, take it as you leave it. Here we go. Frank says it's validation. Trust the process, work the process, achieve, then rinse and repeat. Could not agree more. Could not agree more. And Frank knows a thing or two about a thing or two when it comes to winning. So here's what I'm going to build off of what Frank said. Validation. Winning a championship validates that season. It encapsulates that season forever. Forever. Your name will be on a trophy, many trophies probably at that point, forever. For Kennedy, I heard Pat Vallant talk about he wants the captain's names up on the wall with state champion. There's a lot of honor that comes with winning a state championship because it's not something that necessarily, well, most certainly, not everybody gets a chance at. Even few people win a state championship. New Bremen, those kids have won a state championship. The majority of the kids that are seniors on the team, they won a state championship 2 years ago. You look at Ironton. Those kids have been in state championships the last 2 years. And you go and you, listen, I encourage you, go and watch the movie that they put together. It's 10 minutes long. Their kids are just like ours. Their kids want it too. And their kids have a sour taste in their mouth because they've lost 2 championships. In a town that's, 6,000 people show up for their games. Almost every game. At least that's what I was reading. That's incredible. The support for them is incredible. And they talk about the rich history that comes with being a Tiger. They come with, all kinds of things. And those kids don't want to lose either. They're not going there to be okay with second place. But neither are we. There's a lot of hype around these 3 games especially. There's a lot of hype around the Kirtland game as well with Marion Local. I haven't heard much in the way of hype about tonight's game with Hoban. I've pretty much heard it's Hoban's game to lose. But when you look at the validation that comes with becoming a champion, these kids don't listen. I'm telling you right now, and this isn't just me preparing for a concession speech. These kids don't have anything to hang their heads about. Talking to some of the parents the other night, every one of these kids that are still playing maxed out their season. Seniors, you played every game your senior year that you possibly could have. There is nothing to feel sorry about. There's nothing that even if you come short of your goal on Friday or Saturday, there's nothing that you should sit there and pout about. Easy for me to say, right? But when you're an old man in 20 years like me, and you wonder about how much you left out there, how much you left out on the field, you won't have to wonder because you played every game humanly possible that you could play your senior year or whatever year you are. You put it all out there. You left it all out there. And unless somehow the bus doesn't show up to the game on Friday or Saturday, these kids played every single game they possibly could. To me, they did the impossible, right? Everybody talks about the possibilities of this. And, it becomes real when you actually look these kids in the eye and you ask them, did you honestly believe that you could be here? Because the doubt becomes real because everybody talks about it, right? Everybody talks about winning a championship and winning state and how great it would be, but nobody understands the sacrifice that these kids have made and these parents have made, these coaches have made, these school districts have made to get them there. They don't understand it. There's sacrifices that come with being a champion. There's sacrifices that come with success that nobody wants to break through because it's uncomfortable. Again, I'll point to Dan Yeagley. An emotional night the other night for some of the Raiders. I asked him as the time was counting down. I asked him when the time was counting down what his first thought was. And he said, we did it. And you could tell he was getting emotional. To knock on that door twice and nobody was home. And then South Range kicked that door down on last Friday night. And I could tell when I got down there that the coach was emotional and things were starting to hit him as he was in the media scrum. And it's been an emotional week. These kids, there's people coming out of the woodwork that are asking questions to these kids that haven't been there all season. There's media that have never been there, that don't know these kids' names. But they're in the limelight. They're in the spotlight. So you feel obligated to answer every interview when it's okay to say thanks, but no thanks. You feel obligated to listen to every, answer every text message. There's a lot of distraction that happens with success. And that's because when you're successful, everybody wants a piece of you. And when you're not, they don't. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Is everybody wants a piece of Canfield and South Range and JFK right now. For good reason. Kids want to be them. Adults are infatuated. The media is trying to do their job and meet their deadlines. But at the end of the day, these are not professional athletes. We live in a world that the professional athletes are, it's right here. They're the kids. We bring it down a couple notches, professional, college, high school, and we expect the same out of these coaches, these players, these student athletes that we get out of professional athletes who have been doing it for 10 years longer in some points. Let's get to some comments here. Pat says he's leaving for Canton in an hour. I'm leaving for Canton in about 4 hours. Going to go hang out, and we have an early call tomorrow, so we'll be in Canton, and obviously, I think 8 o'clock we'll have checked in and be ready to go for South Range and Ironton, and then Canfield right after, and we'll take a little bit of a break, and then we'll be in JFK about 24 hours later. So, or there for the JFK game, I should say. All right. Derpy 501st says, I hope the area goes 3-0, but it's going to be tough hoping for a state title for this area in football. Been 6 years since a team came out on top. Go Raiders, Cardinals, and Eagles. Absolutely. Love that. Love the story from last night on WKBN on the 05 team, Canfield and their community. That support level is incredible. I didn't see it, but I know the support level is great over in Canfield. It's again, I think they understand it. They, as the kids say, they understand the assignment. This isn't something that happens every year or even every other year. Gary says, not to bring up the past, Ghosts, but each of these teams need to watch last year's Ursuline versus Clinton Massey championship game. The lead is never too large. Up 21 or down 21, you have to finish at state. Yep, very true. Very, very true. Amy Knopf saying, you got this, South Range. Gary chiming in again. Thank you very much for all the comments today. We appreciate it. I'm leaving for Canton in around an hour or so. Looking forward to Hoban game, and also, or he's looking forward to the Hoban game also. Then he'll be back all weekend. Awesome, Gary. Hope to see you out there. Anybody out there, we hope to be able to meet you out, and thank you for supporting us here at YSN and supporting these kids, these coaches, and these communities. Certainly, very, 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 very important to us. And we thank you for your participation each and every day, and in all different ways here on your sports network. All right, we're going to take a break. We come back. We still got a lot to talk about, a lot to break down, and we're going to finish off the championship kind of segment here on what it takes and what makes a champion. Back after this on the Power Hour, powered by our friends over at Toyota of Warren.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
I guess that's it. I guess we're only getting one commercial. All right. Welcome back to the Ysn Power Hour, powered by Toyota of Warren. DJ Yoakley with you. So when you're talking about these three teams, and we've talked a lot about it enough, right? We've talked about them. It's not too much because that's what we're supposed to do. When you win, you get attention. But the one thing that I want to point out is, once again, when I go on these, and I'm not shaming anybody, so just calm down with your comments. You go on these sites, you go on these chat rooms, whatever they are, message boards, even stuff like we have, right? Podcasts, broadcasts, all this stuff. I never can emphasize enough. Never emphasize enough. These are kids. These are young adults. This is somebody's child. And I think we need to understand, no matter what happens in any game, let alone a championship game, when you're talking about broadcasting for or calling a game or even talking about in a message board, please understand that you're talking about kids, young adults, people that are so just impressionable at that age. And I know there's people out there that'll sit there, oh, quit being so soft around these kids. You're the one that talks about no participation. I do. And I think there's a lot to learn in sports about finishing second or below. You're not always going to win. But it doesn't mean that somebody has to ridicule you. I mean, a lot of these kids are taking it tough enough that they weren't good enough. Some of the arguments that you see on these message boards, on these podcasts, are absolutely insane to me. And some of them are really good. Don't get me wrong. I love seeing when people are supported because of their efforts, even though they came up short. You know, it takes more than one person to win a championship unless you're playing ping pong. And even then you got doubles. But the stark reality to me is, remember why they're playing. Some of these kids are playing for scholarships at much higher divisions. Some of these kids are playing for approval of their parents, of their friends, of their peers, of themselves. Some of these kids don't have any plans other than, I like football, I like basketball, I like baseball, I like softball, I like volleyball, whatever it is. Before you sit there and sharpen the knives, right? Holster them, sheathe them. I think that's what you do with a knife. Relax, okay? Because in 99% of the cases, we weren't any better than those kids were back in our day. We're just absolutely lucky that there wasn't, well, I guess there was JJ Huddle back in the day, but there wasn't anything like these technologies that they have now to point the finger at kids and to say you're not good enough because this or I said so, or this person said so, or and here's the other part is you might not say it, but you share it, and it hurts just as much because sharing just ripple effect. It's an absolute just bomb goes off, and I'm just asking people to know what they're doing and understand the influence that they have on a 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old, especially when it comes to being under those bright lights of a state championship game. These kids want it more than anybody. They understand. Think about the way you were when you were that age. At 18, your entire life depended on winning that game on a Friday night. They don't get to see the next 18 years the way that we get to go back and watch the way we were when we were 18. And I'm not saying don't be critical, but be kind a little bit. Understand that if your son or daughter wins a state championship, it doesn't really do anything to you other than make you more proud of their accomplishments. That's it. I mean, that's it. And I hate to be that guy because it seems it seems kind of silly to even talk about with adults, but somebody's got to say it. At some point, somebody has to act like the adult. And I'm not always the one in the room that has the calmest head, but to see it constantly, we got to put a stop to it. I was reading a story about a group of adults at a middle school game that cost, like, the referees just ended the game and they forfeited the game to the team that was winning because they were heckling the officials. They were heckling. They were just constantly. Remember who this game is about. If you ask any of the three coaches, and I know these three coaches, if you ask any of these three coaches that are representing in this state championship this weekend, our Valley, first and foremost, they're going to tell you it's about the kids. Always has been, always will be. Some of us need to take that advice and that direction and realize it's about the kids. It's not about our status. It's not about anything else. It's about the kids. Let it be about the kids, the young adults. Let it be theirs. Be happy for them. Be excited for them. But the championship is not ours to win. Championship is theirs. And if you're the kids, if you're the players, the student athletes, I implore you to make it about the coaches. Because what the coaches won't tell you is the sacrifices that they make, from the head coach to the athletic director, all the way down to the volunteer coaches on your staff. The sacrifices that they make. Now, these student athletes, these kids think they watch a lot of tape. They watch a lot of film. But I'm going to tell you that the majority of coaches watch at least twice as much film as the average student athlete. Because they have to know, and they understand, a lot of them, what it takes to win a game. The difference between being average and being great isn't necessarily what you see on a Friday night. It's what you see in film study, or it's what, the person that's up until 2:00 in the morning when they've got 100 other things to do. Some of these coaches have sacrificed time with their family, their children, their spouse. They've sacrificed things that probably would make them happier in some cases because they're dedicated. Very rarely do you see a coach on a state championship team bow out at any point during the season. Many times they're spending more dinners with their coaching staff than they do with their loved ones. Please understand, parents and student athletes, that nobody's getting rich from coaching high school football. That I know of, at least. And if they are, they're doing a good job sandbagging it. Please understand the sacrifices. Because at the end of the day, these coaches, they are the same as us, where they hope that your kid succeeds as much as they possibly can. Because we know, in some cases, that coaches have to be dads, both of their kids and of yours. Coaches have to be the fun uncle. Coaches have to be the go-between between is my dad or my mom going to absolutely go nuts on me? How do I get through this? How do I make this decision in my life without being ridiculed? These coaches are doing everything they can and more to make sure that your son or your daughter continually develops and becomes a good person. And that doesn't mean that you're not. What it means is you're fortunate, you're blessed that you have these coaches in that spot in their life, that they care that much about your kid, that they're not taking advantage of their time. Your son or your daughter, their time is of good use because they're a better person, and they will become better people because they're with that staff, that coach, for that amount of time. So again, kids, student athletes, think twice before you grab that trophy, and make sure you let every coach put their DNA on that thing in some form or fashion because of the sacrifices that they've made. Coaches, I've seen it. It's not easy to be a coach's wife. It's not easy to be a family of a coach because of what you lose for that 3-4 months, even longer now, because we play all year round, really, in the weight room and so forth. I really hope that this area realizes, as good as these kids are, as awesome as these kids are, and they are awesome, these coaches, both the ones that are still playing and the ones that aren't, in Northeast Ohio, we are so fortunate to have the coaches that we have. We are so incredibly blessed to have the coaches that go above and beyond for our kids. And it's not always about wins and losses, but to have the great people that lead these programs, that in 20 years, those kids will either lead programs or lead companies or businesses or boardrooms. That's what it's about. These championships, again, full circle, these championships that we are going to win this weekend are phenomenal. But again, make this where you set the bar. Set the bar. Enjoy your championships. Hug your brothers. Hug your parents. Hug your families. Hug your coaches. Because you just never know. And parents, that might be the best point in your life for a long time, seeing your son or your daughter winning that championship. So hold on to that moment, but strive for more. Strive for more for your kids. Ask for more from your kids. Let them know that this championship, while it is great, and it will be etched in time and history forever, will not define who they are. It's just a piece of who they are. That now they have seen greatness. They have felt greatness. Now they can go and achieve more greatness by doing great in their community, doing great by their younger brothers and sisters, to be great in the classroom, to be great in their communities, and to go on and do even greater things than winning a state championship. And why it's, again, I don't want to sit there and act like it is nothing, because it's something I never did and never will do. And so many of us have never done and will never do. Use it to become even better. We are rooting for everybody on JFK, on Canfield, on South Range, more than you will ever know. Go bring home the title. Go show this state what we're all about. And this is just the beginning for us. This is just the beginning for Northeast Ohio. And that they should be watching what we're doing over here because we do it a little bit different. And we work a little bit harder. We're proud of you. No matter what happens. Win the championship. But we'll be just as proud of you if you don't. We love you. Bring it home. Let's catch up on some comments real quick. Derpy says, if I were coaches, I would just want the kids to appreciate the moment they got week 16, mostly the seniors. This is the last dance. I just hope they enjoy the moment. Like you said, 30 years down. Incredible. Division 7, Region 25, Yappy page is liquid gold. I plan on getting to that at the hotel tonight and burning through that. But I got on the 5 and I got on the 3 and it is, there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of opinions. I'm just going to leave it there. So if you guys are one of them, like, and I think, Frankie, I think you are, I think I kind of, not that it's hard, but I got most people figured out on Yappy. Most of them, especially the ones that criticize us. That is going to do it for our show. But why don't we do I feel like I've been on a pedestal the entire time, but why the hell don't we do a spark? Here we go. All right. It's the Joe Dickey Electric. What's Your Spark? Presented by our friends over at Joe Dickey Electric. Anything commercial, residential, anything electrical. Go see my dudes over at Joe Dickey Electric. See Eric Carlson and his great team. Or just head over to DickeyElectric.com and get signed up today. All right. Spark, I got to be honest with you. I'm flying blind here. Flying blind. But my spark is kind of I don't know. Kind of a crazy spark because, you know, when people, I do these shows in this, and listen, I am blessed beyond measure to do what I do. I wake up every morning and I love my life because I have my family, I have my faith, and I have this. And I have this microphone that I get to talk to you. And hopefully I make you laugh a little bit. Hopefully I don't make you cry too much. And hopefully I don't make you mad too much. But I want to go out on a limb and just tell people how grateful I am to be in this position, to be able to know the people that I know, to be able to be in some of the circles that I'm in, to be able to call somebody at the drop of a hat and they pick up most times. Had a meeting last night, kind of a prep meeting for where YSN is going to be this weekend. And I got to be honest with you. I'm so excited about the future of this company. There's some stuff that's going to happen in the next 2 days that we're really excited about. You know, we've been limited by what we were able to do this postseason, especially for the last 3 weeks. But the people who are at YSN and that make up YSN kind of figured out a workaround. We figured out something that is going to make the brand better. We figured out something that it is going to make people happier. And we think it's a really, really good product that we're debuting tomorrow. So I hope people like it. I'm excited for the future of this company. I'm grateful for the people that are in it and the people that watch it and consume it. Because if it wasn't for you, honest to God, we wouldn't do what we do. And we work really hard. And I'm not going to make any bones about that. We work incredibly hard and incredibly long some nights. But it's all for the 3 C's, the children, the communities, and the coaches. And I had a great article written by Greg Goulas come out that was in the Vindicator yesterday. And I can't thank him enough for the opportunity to have kind of the why of YSN be out there and to speak at the Curbstone Coaches on Monday. Just phenomenal. And more people need to get involved with that because that's a great, great, great organization, and they do some great things. So just I feel grateful. You know, I feel like everybody's thankful around Thanksgiving, and that's it. I get on my high horse sometimes and talk to people about this and sports and life and in general, but I never want you to think that I'm not grateful. And I feel like, you know, the people's champion, you know, I feel like I try to give people a voice that sometimes they don't. So thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to let this guy who had this dream just keep living it day in and day out. And it's people like you watching right now that make it possible and make it worthwhile. So thank you 100 times over. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I hope that everybody gets a chance to tune in or listen in to these kids this weekend, because it's the beginning of something great. It really is. I really do believe that in my heart. And you're going to hear greatness. You're going to see greatness. And if you can, get to Canton at Fawcett and Tom Benson Stadium and cheer on greatness. Be a fan. Even if you don't have any rooting interest, just be a fan of kids from our area, because they're from our area. There's probably a tie to you somehow. So that's going to do it for our show. Thank you so much. We will come back on Monday with some state championships, hopefully. And I'm sure when we do that, we'll have some people and some things to talk about. We'll see you again tomorrow, 10:30, 3 o'clock, Saturday, 3 o'clock, right here on YSN. Don't miss it. Some new stuff coming out. I think you're going to like it. YSN, thanks.